I'm sure that you have asked yourself at least once, why me? Why do I, out of all people, have to suffer from anxiety? And for this reason, I want to show and explain to you some of the components that will lead to anxiety and stress-related disorders. One thing is for sure, you cannot pin an anxiety disorder down to a single cause, but it is the result of many factors that contribute to the development of a mental illness. The first one would be your genetics. Genetics can play a huge role in developing an anxiety disorder. When talking about genetics as a risk factor, researchers assume that there is an imbalance of certain neurotransmitters, especially that of serotonin. This is why antidepressants can be so effective for some people with anxiety. Your childhood and upbringing is number 2. In many cases, patients with anxiety already have learned in their childhood to be easily frightened and to avoid situations that are scary. So you can say that if your parents are anxious and nervous, you are more likely to be too. Also, if you have never learned to cope with stressful and frightening situations on your own because you have been brought up by overprotective parents, you might be having difficulties handling stress all the way through adulthood. Furthermore, extremely stressful events in your childhood and teens, such as the divorce of your parents or the death of one of them, can cause such huge distress, and if this has not been properly processed, will cause lifelong insecurities. 3. Your personality. Anxiety sufferers are often just more sensitive and are more prone to fear. Of course, life-changing and difficult events in your adult life, such as the death of a loved one or loss of your job, can cause and/or upkeep any sort of anxiety disorder as well. Persistent, ongoing stress is our number 5. Situations such as work overload, mobbing, perfectionism, or unsolved conflicts can cause so much strain on your body and mind, it can even turn into anxiety issues. 6. The consumption of alcohol and drugs can trigger anxiety or hinder you from being able to rid yourself from any sort of mental illness. The more of the above mentioned risk factors fit to you, the more likely you are to develop an anxiety disorder. Some people might have many of these components, but because they have learned and developed strong coping mechanisms and know how to handle difficult situations, never suffer from anxiety. Others might just have a few risk factors, but are very vulnerable, as they have never learned to cope with stress situations. I hope you enjoyed the video and could learn something about this disorder. If you want to watch more videos about anxiety, just like this one, please subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment below if there is anything you think I have forgotten and should be on the list.